Hey folks! Well, I know you all love group exercises, so that's what we're going to tackle for this one. I would like to carry out an actual code inspection exercise in the class session. So what I'm hoping to do is to get you to go through a chunk of code from the project, so the address.cpp file. Since we haven't spent much time specifically on that, but obviously it's relevant to the project itself. So I'm going to get people to do an inspection on that, and I'm going to get you to go through it as a team in the class session, or in one of the class sessions, to kind of summarize your findings and discuss anything that you go through and identify. So the biggest objective is to go through the address.cpp, identify places where it doesn't conform to the project standards. Right? By now you're all reasonably familiar with the project standards. You've had to go through this over and over again. And to note any bugs or defects that you can spot by going through the inspection. Right? So this isn't active testing, this is going through the code and seeing if you can spot bugs or defects by looking at the code. So I'll try and break folks up into groups of 3 or 4, and I'll get you to assign roles to the different people in your team. So I would like you to go through the address.cpp individually ahead of time so that you've got an idea of what potential problems you've seen, and then during the meeting itself you'll break up into teams. Each team will pick a moderator, pick a reader type of thing, and go through it and discuss sort of line by line what kinds of problems you found and come up with a summary of their findings that you can send to me. This isn't for marks, this is just for practice in actually carrying out an inspection exercise. So, some of the roles that you might consider, and again, you might assign multiple roles to any one person, but somebody to go through to act as a moderator to just kind of oversee things and keep it focused and keep it on schedule, on time, keep it professional. Somebody to act as a scribe to actually record what the group's findings are and to send them to me after the session is done. Maybe somebody that's focused on the inspection from the point of view of long-term maintenance. If you have to maintain this chunk of code, what are the potential issues in the code that you see? Somebody approaching it from the point of view of testing. If you're going to have to be the person that tests this chunk of code, so you're going off and writing stubs and drivers for it, what issues do you see from that perspective? And hopefully everybody is focused on the standards, right? You've all read the standards document, you're all familiar with it, so you can all go through and look for standards violations. You might want to divvy up what kind of standards violations specific people are supposed to be focused on, but again, the idea is we'd like to go through the address.cpp and see what kinds of problems we can address. The code itself, I mean, obviously you've got copies of it in your repositories. There's a link to the material online, so you can have a look at it there. And of course the standards document you're all familiar with, and you've got copies of that, but you can follow the link to get at that as well. So that will be the plan for our next session.